They say the cries echoed from miles around. Summer 1462. You are an Ottoman soldier serving in the mightiest army on the planet. You have stormed Constantinople. You have crushed empires. Now you march into a small principality called Wallachia to subdue a rebellious prince. It should take mere days, perhaps weeks at most. Then the stench reaches you. Decay, rot, and something indefinable that turns your stomach. Your column halts. The scouts freeze in place. As you crest the hill near the capital, the sight unfolds. A forest. Except these are not trees, they are people. 20,000 of them. Your comrades, your brothers in arms, hoisted aloft on sharpened poles, arranged in flawless geometric lines stretching to the horizon. Some corpses have bloated and blackened after weeks in the heat. Others still twitch, still breathe, still scream. Your sultan, the very man who brought down the Byzantine Empire, takes one glance and commands the entire force to reverse course. What sort of intellect devises such a spectacle? And here is the part that should chill you to the core. This was not lunacy. It was strategy. Precise, calculated, and devastatingly successful. The version of Vlad the Impaler you believe you know is incomplete, not because the events are fabricated, but because the reality surpasses anything imagined. This is the complete record of how one man harnessed human suffering with such mastery that it redirected the path of empires. And by the finish, you will see why the true terror lay not in what he did to flesh, but in what he inflicted upon minds. Let us begin with a question rarely posed. What must occur to shatter a person so thoroughly that they become capable of this? The year is 1442. Vlad is 11. His father, Vlad II Dracula, has struck a bargain with the devil incarnate, not figuratively, but with Sultan Mehmed II of the Ottoman Empire. The agreement is straightforward. Vlad II retains his Wallachian throne. In return, he surrenders his two youngest sons as living guarantees of loyalty. Thus young Vlad and his brother Radu are torn from their home and delivered into the Ottoman heartland. Not thrown into dungeons, but housed in palaces at Edirne and later Amasya. They receive fine garments, education, military instruction. They studied Turkish, Arabic, philosophy, and the Quran. On the surface, it appears privilege, yet history tends to gloss over the reality. This was not tutelage, it was indoctrination through terror. From ages 11 to 17, Vlad observed how the Ottomans wielded fear as an instrument of rule. He witnessed public executions crafted not merely to punish populations, but to traumatize them into obedience. He learned that applied terror, delivered with precision, outmatched any conventional army. And he learned one more thing. He was completely powerless. While his younger brother Radu adjusted and even befriended the Sultan's son Mehmed, Vlad resisted every attempt to break him. Ottoman court documents note frequent punishments for his defiance. Some accounts hint at beatings, perhaps worse. The precise details have vanished into time, but the outcome is clear. Something inside him fractured, or perhaps hardened into unbreakable resolve. Modern psychology might label it a persecution complex fused with an obsessive drive for control. Whatever the term, he transformed it. Every punishment endured became a lesson studied. Every torture method observed became knowledge catalogued. He was assembling an internal arsenal, piece by calculated piece. In 1448, after 6 years as a hostage, Vlad returned to Wallachia at 17. Within 2 months, his father was assassinated by rival boyars, the nobility who balanced loyalties between Ottomans and Hungarians. His elder brother Mirza was buried alive. Vlad stood alone, encircled by enemies, supported by none. And here the narrative shifts. He did not seek mere vengeance. He aimed to reconstruct the world according to the blueprint of his trauma. He would take every Ottoman lesson in terror and refine it into something previously unseen. But first, he waited. 6 additional years in exile, plotting, studying tactics and intrigue. Then, in 1456, backed by Hungarian forces, he seized the Wallachian throne. The creature was about to emerge. If the documented psychological fractures that forged history's most infamous figures intrigue you, subscribe now. We are only beginning to explore how this damaged youth became far more terrifying than his captors ever dreamed. Vlad's coronation banquet in 1456 should have marked celebration. Instead, it became the template for everything that followed. He invited the boyar families, the same nobles responsible for his father's murder and his brother's live burial. Hundreds arrived in their finest attire, expecting to pledge fealty to the new prince. The grand hall was adorned, wine flowed generously. Then Vlad rose and posed a single question. How many Wallachian princes have you outlived? The elder boyars boasted 7, 10, some claimed a dozen. They prided themselves on political cunning, on surviving every ruler who sat the throne. Vlad smiled. Then he issued the command. Every boyar who had answered was seized on the spot. But observe the methodical nature. He did not execute them immediately. He divided them by age and condition. The older ones, the architects of his family's destruction, were impaled at once outside the palace. Not swiftly. The stakes were inserted carefully to bypass vital organs, ensuring prolonged death over hours or days. Their screams formed the accompaniment to what came next. The younger, stronger boyars and their kin were stripped of noble garments and force-marched 50 miles north to the ruins of Poinari Castle. There, they received a false choice: rebuild the fortress with bare hands or perish. For months, they hauled stones up the mountainside. Hands bled, fine clothes rotted away. Most collapsed from exhaustion and died during construction. The survivors emerged broken. Vlad had dismantled the old nobility and installed a new class, utterly dependent on him, living in perpetual dread of his displeasure. This was not simple retribution, it was systematic eradication of the power structure that had kept Wallachia vulnerable. And it exposed a key facet of Vlad's mindset. He did not desire obedience alone. He demanded people be shattered so completely that obedience became their sole remaining option. But this remained internal politics. The boyars were Wallachian. What Vlad did next would reverberate across empires. In 1459, Sultan Mehmed II, the same Mehmed who had been Vlad's childhood companion, dispatched envoys demanding the annual tribute Vlad's father had pledged. The demand carried added insult. Vlad must appear personally in Constantinople to renew vassalage. The envoys arrived anticipating standard diplomacy, perhaps negotiation, perhaps compromise. Instead,
they received a foretaste of perdition. Upon entering Vlad's court and refusing to remove their turbans, a genuine Ottoman religious custom, Vlad inquired politely at his apparent interest. They explained, likely relieved at his apparent interest. Vlad nodded thoughtfully.
Then he spoke words that must have frozen their blood. "I honor men who uphold their faith so steadfastly. Allow me to make that honor permanent." He commanded his guards to nail the turbans directly to their skulls. Consider the calculated cruelty. He did not kill them. He disfigured them in a symbolically charged yet medically precise manner, ensuring they would survive the return journey. They became ambulatory messages, their screams carrying across the countryside as they fled back to the Sultan. When Mehmed received these men, sent in good faith, now permanently mutilated and driven near mad by pain, he understood instantly. This was no longer the boyhood friend he recalled. This was something novel. Something that had taken Ottoman terror and advanced it beyond Ottoman imagination. War became inevitable. But before open conflict, Vlad sent further signals. Most people misunderstand impalement. It was never simple execution, it was engineering. The popular image, a stake driven straight through the body, would cause rapid death. That defeated the purpose. Vlad's technique was far more sophisticated and infinitely crueler. Based on contemporary medical interpretations of descriptions and Ottoman accounts, here is how it functioned. The victim was laid prone. A stake, rounded at the tip, thoroughly oiled, was inserted via the rectum at a precise angle designed to avoid major organs and vessels. The victim was then slowly elevated upright. Gravity completed the work. Over hours or days, body weight forced the stake upward through the torso, threading past heart, lungs, and arteries. In documented instances, the point emerged through shoulder or chest, while the victim remained alive up to 3 days. Why this method? Because Vlad grasped what modern psychological warfare specialists now confirm. Prolonged witnessed suffering traumatizes far more deeply than swift death. A beheading horrifies briefly. Impalement became an extended performance, complete with screams audible across valleys. But the physical insertion formed only one element. The true brilliance, if such a term can be applied, was in presentation. Vlad staged impalements publicly, in squares, along highways, before city gates, anywhere maximizing visibility. He understood rumor and word of mouth amplified impact exponentially beyond victim numbers. One witnessed impalement generated 100 retellings, each spawning 100 more. He continually refined symbolism. Stakes varied in height by rank, peasants low, nobles higher, enemy commanders tallest. This created a grotesque hierarchy, reinforcing his message. Everyone occupies a place in my order, and suffering corresponds to station. In certain accounts, he arranged victims in geometric patterns, circles, stars, concentric rings. This was not chaotic sadism. It demonstrated absolute control. I possess such power that I can transform agony into art. A 1462 German pamphlet, admittedly propagandistic, yet grounded in eyewitness Saxon merchant reports from Wallachia, describes Vlad dining amid the impaled. He allegedly set a table in the stake field, ate surrounded by dying men, and appeared to relish it. Whether this exact scene occurred is disputed.
What remains undisputed is the psychological intent. I exist so far beyond normal human conduct that your revulsion cannot reach me. Saxons, whose relations with Vlad were complex, disseminated these pamphlets widely, the earliest mass-produced horror literature in Europe, accompanied by woodcut illustrations. Those crude yet powerful images spread across the continent and solidified Vlad's notoriety. But one question went unasked at the time.
Did any of this succeed? Was terror genuinely effective militarily, or was Vlad merely a sadist granted power? The answer arrived in summer 1462, proving his methods not only worked, but devastated. Sultan Mehmed II had reached his limit. By early 1462, Vlad had refused tribute and raided deep into Ottoman territory south of the Danube. In one especially savage campaign, he crossed the river with a small force and, according to his own letter to the Hungarian king, slew over 23,000, categorizing victims by age and gender in meticulous count. Mehmed, the conqueror of Constantinople at 21, suppressor of endless revolts, commander of Earth's supreme military machine, resolved to handle the Wallachian matter personally. Spring 1462, he mustered between 60,000 and 90,000 troops. Conservative estimates place the number at triple Wallachia's entire fighting-age male population. This was not invasion, it was annihilation. Vlad commanded perhaps 20,000 to 30,000, many peasant levies with minimal training. Conventional battle meant slaughter, so Vlad executed the plan he had nurtured since boyhood. He denied them conventional engagement. As Ottomans entered Wallachia, they encountered emptiness, abandoned villages, poisoned wells, scorched fields. Vlad had ordered his people to evacuate homes, retreat to forests and mountains, driving livestock away. Ottoman supply lines stretched dangerously. Then the night raids commenced. These were no ordinary skirmishes. Vlad had drilled specialized guerrilla units. Groups of 50 to 100 struck camps under darkness, slaying sentries, igniting fires, vanishing before response could organize. They targeted wagons, pack animals, munitions. The aim was not army destruction, but exhaustion, paranoia, demoralization. Yet the masterpiece occurred June 17, 1462. Vlad learned from captives that Mehmed camped near Tirgovishte with his elite janissaries. This chance would never recur. Vlad personally commanded roughly 10,000 in what became known as the night attack. Under cover of night, they infiltrated the vast Ottoman camp with one goal: eliminate the Sultan. Contemporary accounts describe pandemonium. Wallachians wore captured Ottoman uniforms and spoke enough Turkish to sow confusion. They torched tents, stampeded horses, focused on the Sultan's pavilion. They came within yards of Mehmed. Some historians believe Vlad and the Sultan briefly locked eyes across the burning chaos, but janissaries formed an unbreakable ring around their master. After hours of brutal close combat, Vlad recognized breakthrough was impossible. He ordered retreat. His men melted into darkness as swiftly as they had appeared. Ottoman losses were moderate, perhaps 2,000, though their sources minimize figures. Psychological impact, however, proved catastrophic. The Ottoman Sultan, encircled by his own army, had nearly perished at the hands of a vastly outnumbered foe who struck from nowhere and vanished like specters. Commanders were shaken.
soldiers exhausted. They remained weeks from Constantinople, traversing a lifeless landscape where every shadow concealed death. Then they reached the capital and beheld Vlad's preparation. No description can fully convey what Mehmed's troops encountered approaching Tirgovishte in late June 1462. But imagine you are an Ottoman soldier. You have marched weeks through devastated land. Hunger gnaws, exhaustion weighs, constant night raids keep you jumpy. The enemy has disappeared for days. That should signal safety. Instead, it feels like ambush. As you near the Wallachian capital, the odor strikes first. If you have smelled a single carcass rotting in summer heat, multiply by thousands. Add the cloying sweetness of human decomposition. It coats your tongue. Then you see the stakes. 1, then 10, then hundreds. Soon you realize there is no boundary. They extend horizon to horizon in every direction. Contemporary records claim the field stretched nearly 2 miles long and over half a mile wide. Historians debate numbers. Ottoman sources, likely minimizing for propaganda, say 10,000. Hungarian and Wallachian accounts claim up to 20,000.
Reality probably lies between 15,000 and 20,000 impaled bodies. But here is what truly horrifies. Nothing was random. Stakes formed precise geometric patterns, concentric circles radiating from the capital, regimented rows. In places, they created star shapes visible from high ground. Vlad had prepared this for weeks, possibly months. He had taken Ottoman prisoners and local collaborators from prior raids and border clashes. He kept them alive expressly for this display. Some corpses had rotted for weeks in summer sun. Others were fresher. Multiple sources state some remained alive, moaning across the field, too weak to scream, yet conscious. Byzantine chronicler Leonicus Chalcocondylas, who interviewed eyewitnesses, wrote that the dying groans carried over the entire expanse. Ottoman veterans who had sacked cities and massacred foes reportedly vomited. Some refused to advance. Others deserted under cover of night, preferring execution risk to continuation through this nightmare. At the center, atop the tallest stake, stood Hamza Pasha, a senior Ottoman commander captured earlier. His body, clad in tattered military finery, faced directly the Sultan's approach route, a personal communication from Vlad to Mehmed. "This is what I do to your finest. Imagine what awaits you." Sultan Mehmed II, the man who had watched Constantinople's walls collapse under cannon fire, who had ordered his own massacres, reined in his horse and stared silently for minutes. Sources vary on his exact words, but Chalcocondylas's version prevails. It is impossible to deprive a country of a man capable of such deeds, who knows so well how to employ his power. This was not admiration, it was recognition. The Sultan acknowledged confronting something beyond comprehension, a mind that had absorbed Ottoman methods and surpassed them. The military position had already deteriorated. Supplies overstretched, scorched earth tactics effective. Night raids shattered morale. Commanders urged retreat, yet the impaled forest became the psychological tipping point. It demonstrated conventional strategy no longer applied. Vlad sought not battlefield victory, but mental collapse. And it succeeded.
Within days, Mehmed ordered full withdrawal. He left a detachment under Vlad's brother Radu to harass, but the Sultan himself retreated with the main force. Earth's most powerful military had invaded a tiny principality with overwhelming superiority and been repelled, not by arms, but by engineered terror. Vlad the Impaler had prevailed. Yet the tale does not conclude there, for what follows exposes terror's ultimate irony. However effective short-term, it inevitably consumes its creator. You might assume repulsing the Ottoman Empire would make Vlad a Christian hero. In some respects it did. The Hungarian king and the Pope lauded his defense of the faith, but they failed to grasp one truth: Vlad could not switch it off. The techniques that repelled Ottomans extended to everyone. By late 1462, he impaled Wallachian merchants for price gouging, boyars for rumored disloyalty, entire villages for trivial offenses. The instrument forged against a superior enemy became his sole governing tool. His political standing eroded rapidly. Brother Radu, supported by Ottoman funds and troops, presented himself as the rational alternative. Hungarian backing evaporated as Vlad's increasingly erratic conduct alienated allies. By November 1462, months after his greatest success, Vlad fled into Hungarian territory. And here lies bitter irony. His supposed ally, King Matthias Corvinus, imprisoned him on charges still unclear. Some sources claim Matthias forged letters portraying Vlad as secretly negotiating with Ottomans. Others suggest Vlad had become such a liability that even Christian partners sought his removal. He spent 12 years in Hungarian captivity, not the harsh Ottoman imprisonment of youth, but comfortable house arrest.
He married a Hungarian noblewoman and fathered children. By all accounts, he behaved impeccably as a prisoner. Yet in 1476, opportunity returned. Wallachia had descended into chaos under weak successors. Moldavia's Prince Stephen the Great helped engineer Vlad's restoration, backed by Hungarian and Moldavian forces. Vlad reclaimed the throne in November 1476. He ruled perhaps 2 months. In December 1476 or January 1477, the date uncertain, he perished in battle against Ottomans near Bucharest. Circumstances remain murky. Some accounts say betrayal by his own men, mistaking him for an enemy in chaos. Others claim overwhelming Ottoman numbers. What is certain, his head was severed, preserved in honey, and dispatched to Sultan Mehmed in Constantinople as proof. After all the terror, impalements, psychological warfare, Vlad ended as a trophy displayed for mockery in the capital of the empire he had opposed his entire life. His body allegedly lies at Snagov Monastery on an island in Romania. 1930s excavations located a tomb, but it was empty. To this day, his remains' location is unknown. So what do we make of this narrative? In Romania, Vlad is frequently celebrated as national hero, a ruthless yet effective leader who preserved independence against impossible odds. Statues stand in his honor. His image graces tourist souvenirs. To the wider world, especially after Bram Stoker's 1897 novel borrowed his name for Dracula, he became synonymous with vampiric, supernatural evil. In a twisted way, this absolves us. It is simpler to view him as inhuman monster than confront the genuine horror. Because the genuine horror is this: everything Vlad did was profoundly human.
He was not born monstrous. He was shaped by a system that taught power flows through terror, survival demands utter ruthlessness, empathy equals weakness. He absorbed those teachings and pushed them to their ultimate conclusion. The forest of the Impaled was not madness, it was applied psychology. The night attacks were not random violence, they were precision strategy. Every impalement, mutilation, public display of suffering served calculated purpose in a larger contest. And here is what should disturb your sleep. It succeeded. Against insurmountable odds, using nothing but weaponized fear, Vlad repelled an empire. He demonstrated that terror, properly directed, achieves what armies cannot. The question is not whether Vlad was evil. That is evident. The question is what this reveals about human nature, that such methods proved so effective, and what other calculated horrors lurk in history's unlit corners, waiting to impart lessons we prefer to ignore. If you wish to continue uncovering truths textbooks conceal, subscribe, because history's darkest chapters concern not merely events, but understanding why they succeeded, and that knowledge we cannot afford to forget.